The Loony, Book of Wisdom. Chapter 1. The Orange Principle. On the battered kitchen table sat an orange, plucked from the fruit bowl, and poised for something beyond its understanding. Its skin glowed under the morning light, a vivid promise of the zesty richness within. As a hand wrapped around it, claiming it as the day's first quarry, the orange faced its destiny with silent composure. A gentle squeeze produced a soft resistance, the rind giving way to a firm yet yielding grip. Tiny droplets formed at the skin's surface, and with more pressure, a stream of juice cascaded down, pooling into a small, sunlit puddle on the table. Orange juice. Pure and simple. Not apple juice, not milk, just orange. Consider for a moment the magnificent simplicity of this fruit's revelation. How it mirrors our human experience under life's manifold pressures. What emerges from us when squeezed by circumstances? Not something conjured by the challenge itself, but a revelation of what already resides within. Take John, for instance, whose laughter often masked an invisible weight. At work, when deadlines tightened like noose knots, there emerged a surprising patience, a kindness that buoyed his team. "Don't worry, we've got this," he'd say, summoning untapped reserves, not of competence but of confidence and camaraderie. His true self pressed into view by the looming walls of expectation. Then, of course, there was Ellie, whose life painted resilience across every scar. Betrayal snuck into her life, whispering its disfavor. Yet, when confronted by such pain, what flowed from her was forgiveness. A warm, flowing balm that soothed fissured hearts and surprised those who thought bitterness would seep from frayed resilience. Her past told tales of struggle, but under pressure, it was grace that poured forth. Isn't it curious? This squeezing we so dread, yet the unveiling it orchestrates. Pressure does not fabricate. It distills. Like a tea bag steeping in hot water, character bleeds into the cup's embrace, transforming the mundane into something savory and robust. What's infused in our days? The flavor is up to us. Imagine standing before a stubborn traffic light, the world a symphony of horns and muffled curses. Feel the pulse quicken, the churning of irate energy waiting to express itself, and when the bottleneck finally releases, what emerges? A choice lurks in the everyday, aggravation or acceptance. Such moments, trivial yet telling, reveal our disposition shaped far before the intersection. Decisions, those invisible architects of character, sculpted Ellie's and John's responses long before life applied its grip. Choices, repeated and layered, form the reservoir from which we draw when squeezed. The heart of the lesson whispers, "Build wisely before the press demands revelation." But why stop with oranges? There are more absurd teachers waiting, many objects with stories ripe for plucking. Consider now a biscuit jar perpetually dwindling at a mysterious pace. Therein lies another truth, cloaked in crumbs and conspiracies. But that's for tomorrow's pondering, a lesson waiting to tumble out as sure as an orange yields juice. The squeeze, you see, is inevitable. Life's thumb and forefinger find us all. But inside, waiting behind our own vibrant skins, is our true essence. As you journey amid the whims of this world, remember, prepare not for the squeeze, but for what's within. Because when that inevitable moment demands what's ripe to emerge, may it be something worthwhile, something that surprises with its sweetness. And so, we leave the kitchen, the juice glistening in its brief tenure on the table, a silent sermon. As the day unfolds, oranges mingle with bus tickets, forgotten keys, and stubborn traffic jams. All have secrets to confess, waiting for a gentle squeeze or perhaps just the right perspective to unlock their loony wisdom. Chapter 2. The Kettle's Whistle. The sun crept into the kitchen, casting ripples of light across the tiled floor, shifting with the sway of the trees outside. In this quiet morning space, a kettle sat rooted on the stove, its spout like a watchful sentinel waiting to spring into action. Inside, the water had begun its subtle symphony, the tiny bubbles forming, colliding, growing. The air thickened with anticipation, much like the moments when a storm gathers strength, yet holds its release. Maggie watched from the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a faded mug that bore traces of morning routines past. Her gaze drifted back and forth between the kettle and the open book resting before her. Some book on wisdom her friend had insisted she read. But Maggie had always thought wisdom felt slippery, often wrapped in complicated jargon far removed from her own world of spilled cereal and unfinished laundry. Today, however, something about the kettle drew her in. The steam rose steadily, curling in lazy tendrils that danced towards the ceiling. The gentle murmurings from within the kettle began to crescendo into a boiling chorus. Maggie knew the whistle wasn't far off, a sound that carried with it urgency and insistence, a call to action. As if in response, beneath the surface of her own mind, echoes of unfinished tasks and gnawing worries began to bubble up. She had always likened her stress to that building pressure inside a kettle, though she rarely considered the mechanics that connected the two. The stove beneath the kettle ticked higher, and soon the hissing grew into a fierce whistle that shook through the kitchen walls. Maggie felt the familiar pulse of anxiety, a resonance of the kettle's whistle clamoring in her chest. She got up, moved to turn down the heat, and silenced the kettle with a swift motion. The kitchen breathed in a collective sigh of relief. Tranquility refilled the space. Her gaze fell back to the book. The absurd little lesson of the kettle suddenly seemed to make sense. The whistle, after all, was not so different from the outburst of a person under stress. It was just a release valve, a necessary letting off of steam when the pressure built too high. It was precisely in these moments that Maggie realized calm was born not from the absence of noise, but from knowing when to ease the tension. The kettle held its wisdom without speaking. Keep the heat in check, it seemed to say, and the steam won't scream. Maggie wondered how many times she let herself become a whistling kettle, the noise drowning out the serenity she craved. With this fresh insight, she returned to her chair, her heart stilling to a gentle rhythm. The wise would say, pressure doesn't manufacture your response. It merely reveals what's inside. Assumptions about life's storms filled her mind. How thinking she'd have to control them all on her own added to the boil. When in truth, learning how to temper her own fire could lead to a quieter world. She sipped her drink, the familiarity of its warmth contrasting with new thoughts that simmered, echoes of late-night conversations, moments stolen under the blanket fort she'd built with her daughter, powdered sugar on their fingers. Didn't they weave through life's pressures in a similar dance? Turning the heat down was not about evading stress, but allowing space to breathe through it. Maggie discovered a quiet revolution in choosing calm, contrasting the chaos often prescribed by life. She imagined teaching this kettle wisdom to her daughter. Life lessons that speckled moments shared over warm mugs of cocoa or in snug kitchen nooks, awaiting whistling kettles. The lessons wrapped in the absurd, views hidden in plain sight. Maggie chuckled to herself, the weight on her shoulders lifting ever so slightly. Maybe this book wasn't so far from the mark. Drawing her focus back to the cool stove and silent kettle, she bobbed back into the richness of the present, realizing moments like these carried their own tender power. Another day lay waiting, untarnished, unpressured. And so Maggie's thoughts, like the steam, dissipated into clarity. The calm etched within her, a gentle whisper against the noise. The kettle had taught wisdom this morning, a simple truth to carry forward. The kettle's lesson, she mused, was the unspoken promise of finding stillness amid the clamor. As she thumbed through the pages before her, the next chapter gave a teasing hint of chaos to come, some peculiar exploration involving shopping trolleys and human behavior. Maggie smiled, curiosity piqued. If a kettle could divulge the art of calm, what strange wisdom might await from a trolley? And so she was drawn forward, eager for the next twist of insight in this loony journey.